the first person who's going to come up and do poems for you today is Benard Ferguson. Benard is representing the Bahamas, trying to plant his feet in Minnesota, and he enjoys volunteering and performing at local poetry slams. We're really glad to have him, so please make some noise for Benard Ferguson.
How's everybody doing? So I'm Benard. Yeah, I'm from the Bahamas. I'm gonna read like just two poems for y'all real quick. Speaking of Giddy, I got clearance from Giddy to talk about this, right? So about 2 weeks ago, we were on a rooftop, high out of our minds. Well, I was high out of my mind. I don't know if everybody else was high as I was, but I can't remember anything from that moment, from that like hour we were up on the rooftop. It was hot, the sky was blue. That's all I got. And so I have these like series of poems that I try to write when I'm high, at least when I could write. So later in LA, like the day after, I hung out with a couple of friends at an arcade bar and we played some Street Fighter. So I wrote about that. But it's so I'm doing this. I'm doing this poem right now in honor of Giddy. Um, Go in, poet. Okay. I just finished this today, so I might read it like a little fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit. It's a high poem. It's weird. Okay. I have never been higher than that one time I was in LA. And arcade bars became an appropriate place to put our bodies and linger long enough for the Street Fighter to get free and accept new challengers who didn't have nothing else to lose. And that last time I played with Dalsum was when cousin Chrissy knew how to throw Vega around the screen only to draw his claws straight down on a nigga's brown skin like he owed him money. And the music in here is so lit, and I'm so lit. I'm saying, I might just be a blunt. My fingers glowing like they've been blessed by the heat, cause that's what I got rolling through the bar. Me and a well-timed uppercut from a nigga Ken who knows how to force wings on those who stand in his wake and send them flying into the sky. And maybe Ken is a blunt too, cause his whole arm is on fire. And Ryu can't seem to detach his jaw from the tip of his fist. And I don't know about rivalries like that, but I don't know about rivalries like that, but I know about revelry with my boys. I only know about the howls that come from a body left in a cold, loverless bed for too long. I only know about this third Manhattan that the bartender just blessed us with. I only know I gotta make easy work out of this dude that thinks Guile is an acceptable character to play with. Find you some homies that's gonna catch your tired bones after you throw hands for bragging rights. Find you some homies that's gonna hold you while the world waits to consume whatever you got left. And I don't know about always, but right now they got homies like that in LA, willing to zag through these streets and put down on a moment's notice. Find you some homies that gonna be with you as home disappears on the horizon. Find you some homies with teeth. Okay. Let's get dry. Okay. One more poem. So I've been thinking lately, I think a lot about protesting and resistance, being an immigrant currently living here in America. That is on my mind a lot. So I think about protesting and the kind of people that protesting leaves out. Um, Specifically, think about the people that have been in the system and who can't get arrested again, so they can't put their bodies at risk. Think about someone like me who can't put my body at risk in a protest, because if I get arrested, I might be deported. Think about people who are literally unable to make it to a protest because of maybe a disability. So a friend once told me, you know, I don't know, I just sometimes don't get as motivated to go to a protest. Um, to put my body out there, but then the Philando Castile thing happened, and then I was motivated enough. And I just said, you know, you just need to think about who else can't make it, and you could be there for them. You know what I mean? So this poem is about that, kind of. Glory by Common and John Legend echoes in the background during the march on downtown Minneapolis after Jamar Clark was shot. And a young boy stands on the top of a car and raises his fists while I cry from behind the glow of my laptop in a dark apartment in St. Paul. And yeah, I got my cape pressed, and yeah, I got my kicks ready, but that don't mean I got a say in this. that don't mean this country ain't looking for an excuse to drag me back into the ocean. So here I be with a hum of light across my face, with the doors locked but still in danger. And I'm getting choked up because I heard this song before, but it ain't ever sound like this. And now I think I can hear the fresh coat of grief that laid itself over Common's skin on the cover of Nobody's Smiling, and made him look at the camera like he only had one more second left in him before he lost his cool and descended down the mountainside to lay hands on all the precious gold that they took from us. And now, on my screen, the boy's fist is stretched up into the clouds, and John Legend has just begun the journey across the wide, holy land that is the final chorus. And out from behind the tower of City Hall comes Big Mama, who can't make it out to this type of resistance because the walk ain't good for them bones. And beside her is a homie from around the block who just got out because they caught him using that weed to whisper something to his daddy who passed 5 years ago. And beside him is another nigga who I've never seen before, but he got handcuffs around his wrists, and their broken chains are swinging by his side, and all the niggas who couldn't make it out here to stand on 2 feet are lined by all the ones who could. And in the distance is the screech of a cop car, and its red and blue flames across the evening turn the sky into a menace, into a flag that's trying to wrap itself around our necks, but we don't care. All the homies we laid to rest this year came out to this fight too, and it might be this song, or it might be getting too dark out, but you can't tell me that all these niggas don't look like me.
All right, we have one more opening artist. Fatima Camera is a 20-year-old spoken word artist from Minneapolis. She has been the Be Heard program associate for the Be Heard 2015 and 2016 team. She was a competing poet the 2 previous years. Along with being a youth advisory board member for True Art Speaks, a St. Paul-based nonprofit organization, Fatima at times hosts the Reverb open mic at Golden Thyme Cafe, which was named the best open mic by City Pages in 2015. She's performed all over McAllister, Augsburg, Hamlin, U of M. She's been fortunate enough to share stages with poets like Danez, Guante, Sierra de Mulder, and many more. She just got into a car accident on the way here, and she's still here. I've been doing poetry for years. If I got in a car accident, I'd be at home watching Planet Earth 2, drinking milkshakes or something. So give it up for Fatima Camara.
It's okay. I wasn't hurt. My car's fine, but pay attention when you drive. So first of all, Benard, thanks. Your vulnerability is so strong. I appreciate that second piece a lot. And Giddy, thank you for asking me to perform. So let's get it. So I write a lot about history, and I believe God is a Black woman, and I believe everything that has brought me here has been Black women, whether it be my mom, my friends, shout out Jade behind Giddy over there, and yeah, Black women have brought me here. So anyway. This is called Sano. All of that gold in the ocean, wasted, could have been around my neck, a cute little chain inside a picture of grandma taken from my first memory of her smiling at me, though you know it wasn't the first time. It did not look like a goodbye. Could have been a home they built, the carvings of Ka and Mane not being at risk of forgetting their names, but because they couldn't risk losing the memory of love they chose, a certain kind of forever that came from the dirt. Could have been anything but the wonder of origin, that deadly curiosity of where, a question with an answer lost to this world. Could have been a new world, an empire uncolonized, the kids unscattered, not displaced. Could have been the body unlearning prison as a home. Could have been a block unbased in Black blood. Could have been the courage in being out and out of control. Could have been the Black girl. Could have been the Black girl. Could have been the Black girl. You say, look, the beauty of the waves. I close my eyes and cringe to hear the death in each crash. Feel the sand, enjoy the shore, you say. I feel my blood thinning, desperate to jump in search of some kind of beginning, but an element so malleable, you say. Some had to survive the wreckage, yes. If you wanted to find the ones that have floated to shore, the ones we don't value and make fuss about, the survivors of that sunken treasure once hammered and pressed to the ocean's floor all around. There are still plenty of other bodies that shine like mine. Thank you. And the second piece is called Should My Grandmother Have Named Me? I imagine the days I come home tired. Grandma is watching me come in. She's tying the ice kaba to sell to the neighborhood kids, humming a song she's been humming since she could remember, a calm surrounding her. A smile she's holding till she sees the slow drag of my feet from searching for the woman whose name I'm supposed to own, from seeing others like me searching for ghosts. She doesn't ask why I wasn't successful. I don't tell her that everything she is expecting me to bring back, she has been holding. She doesn't ask me what it is I brought home. I don't tell her that I found parts of me she won't recognize. She doesn't hesitate to tell me one of her stories because I know better than to share mine, the kind that combats hers. These are the days I'm filled with new discoveries to share, so she can hold me too, so I can give her something to hum, but it disrupts the calm. Grandma don't see no familiarity in the things that haven't brought her here, and I come from a people where you're named after who they loved most, your highest honor, who you aspire to be. It is impossible who you are to become. You're told the many stories your name is in, but you do not belong to. You learn to recreate memories, even the violent ones, not becoming the thing you want people to see, but wondering whose name your family has forgotten. I imagine coming home to her, coming out to her, after a long day of pretending I found all the parts that make me, waiting for her to look up from the ebbe she's stirring, waiting for her smile's blessing, only for it to belong to a memory. Thanks.
So next up, I think we only have one more poet before we get to Giddy. So Ben B, he's never performed here before in Minnesota, but he is an international touring spoken word poet. He's a youth development specialist, teacher, and anthropologist from Tampa. He is a two-time finalist at Southern Fried, the largest spoken word poetry competition in the Southeast region. Ben B also started a poetry club at his alma mater, Dixie Hollins High School. He served as a poetry coach and mentor before joining AmeriCorps and moving to South Dakota. While he was in South Dakota, he was published in the South Dakota State Poetry Society's annual magazine twice. He then pursued his passion with the Peace Corps and moved to St. Lucia, where he was featured at the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. Benjamin currently lives in New York City and works as a flight attendant, and he also this EQ has been like travel problems for everyone. So his flight was like canceled and delayed over and over and over again. We're glad you're here. So please welcome for the first time in Minnesota, Ben B.
Thank you so much for having me. Can we give it up one more time for Fatima and Benard? Wow. In about 20 minutes, you're going to say, damn, he should have opened for them. But here we are. Next time, please, let me have the honor of doing that. So Bao said, the Loft is a haven for readers and writers. Our mission is to advance the artistic development of writers, foster a thriving literary community, and inspire passion. I like passion. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of everything tonight. I'm going to go from the very first poem I've ever written to something that's very new, and I just finished it in the hotel room earlier. And I'm going to step away for this first poem from the mic. Hope you don't mind. Oh, okay. I won't step away from the mic. Okay. How heavy is this? How about that? Does that work? Yeah. All right. So I'm very happy to be here. I am not happy. I am happiness. I am not ecstatic. I am ecstasy. I'm like a shy 5 with a perfect 10 standing next to me. I'm a World Trade Center employee who is too sick to work all 9/11 week counting my blessings, see. I'm the team's best kept secret. A respected best friend, knowing you'll never forget the first time we met. I'm a dream chaser on his deathbed taking his last breath. knowing you live life with no regrets. Me, I'm a toddler holding my first ever ice cream cone in my hands. I'm a soldier back from Iraq holding my firstborn son in my hands. I'm a stressed out college student who just found out I got A's on all my exams in my dorm room doing my happy dance. I'm the nerd out of the club who just got the bump and grind from his high school crush and can't hide the excitement in his pants. I am Kermit the Frog, Cheech Chong, and Snoop Dogg on a celebrity camping trip stumbling across some ripe peace plants. I'm an ex-con out of jail who truly turned his life around and just found out his family and some random manager are going to give him a second chance. Joy, it's somewhere between the kickball and the home run you want. The cameraman and a crazy Jackie Chan stunt. It is between cooties and your first kiss. It is moving across the bridge for schooling, seeing your parents often and them still calling you randomly to tell you that you're missed. Luck, it's somewhere between that untrained puppy and the dog poo that somehow made its way to the backyard. The untimely hangover and the test that ended up not being that hard. Smiling, it's somewhere between your lover's flirting fingertips and your ticklish spot. The rocking chair on the back porch and your daughter running up steps showing me fireflies she caught. Pleasure is between wisdom and pain. May's flowers and April's rain is between sleep and your brain. The snooze button and the dreams you have that keep you from going insane. That is why I am not happy. I am happiness. I am not ecstatic. I am ecstasy. I'm the citizen of a third world country whose soccer team just won the World Cup. I am sleep deprived parents of a child in a coma getting a tap on the shoulder from a nurse saying, your son just woke up. I'm a teenager who after 5 years finally got her braces off. I'm a scared of the dark third grader who just realized that creepy shadow outside my window is just some dangling moss. Check this out. I just figured I can get my calculator to display the word boob. I'm a video gamer who just graduated from the status of noob. I'm the boyfriend who guessed right and didn't make his first move too soon, so in the future, he could be the best night of a perfect honeymoon. I am the thoughts that allow for Peter Pan to fly. I'm a young poet that just got over being shy so I can stand on a stage and look you right in the eyes. I'm Mary Magdalene in disguise, holding sheets, staring in awe at an empty tomb. And if Mary was alive today, she'd be holding her head high, seeing the inspiration from all the poetry in this room. So down with the haters, I say. Down with the haters and negativity, because we must share, listen, show, write, feel, experience, express, create, and ignite passion. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been trying to learn ASL, American Sign Language. You can learn for free on YouTube. It's really awesome. My favorite word that I've learned so far is ironic, but it's poetry. I'll teach it to you guys right now. It's very easy. You just take your right hand, you go where your heart is, you grab what's there, and you offer it up to the world. That's how you say poetry in sign language. Isn't that amazing? Let's just do that one more time. I'm really corny, but that's awesome. Like, is that cool? Is that cool? Oh, okay, yeah, Should I talk about that? Whoa, hey, you know how you had problems with your phone earlier about not pulling up a poem? Yeah. That's happening. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, so now here's a new poem. So that's like literally the first poem I ever wrote, and here's like the last poem I ever wrote until now. So after working with elementary children for years, I can say with confidence that little boys love to dance. And they love to use all the colors when they're finger painting, coloring, creating their race cars, everything that they're doing. They love to use all the colors. And contrary to popular adult belief, they are actually quite satisfied with the friend zone. Naturally, unconsciously of course, a fruit roll-up for your Skittles, my Gushers for your Oreos. I miss my lunch table bartering with my classmates of all genders and sexes. Trade snacks with them, laugh and pretend, even dress up and play house, running hand in hand, sharing crayons and cooties. This part is easy for children. Everything else is a myth. But before our little boys form this freedom into a habit, in this nature versus nurture tug of war, where society is the referee that's been paid off by patriarchy, the men come. And the men introduce the boys to so much gray and deader versions of their favorite colors, a metallic blue that has been tainted with power, a green that just isn't quite right. They tell the boys that they can earn one of their colors back, purple, a heart, but only by turning beautiful bombshell bodies of spirits and family members and strangers into different shades of black and blue. And red is okay to spill and shed, and red is just a means to an end. More boot and fist than open palm, more oil slick salute than hug or shoulder. See, the men conquer the boys' butterfly garden imaginations and say there is absolutely no dancing. They divide the colors their mothers gave them into taboos. Say it's better to be obedient than creative. Say choose your colors like you choose your friends. The best ones are the ones we let you get familiar with and nothing more. But magic don't need an explanation, and deep down the boys know they are just chemistry. They are just the earth's balance of wet soil and equality. Their bones and fingers hold on to this rhythm and motion as long as their little bodies can before it is beaten out of their ideas, colorless. And because of this, they are raised to believe that the only way for them to get their colors back is to do the same that was done to them. And so now the young men walk with their heads down, and the young men are embarrassed by all the bright colors they once lived for. And the young men are disgusted with the friend zone, convinced that strong and gentle are antonyms, and that the girls and sisters they grew up with are for them instead of with them, hard and rough, and this is how it must be, and this is how they want me. And so the once clear blue communication is bloodied and blurred, and we lose touch. And we lose how to soft touch and green thumb, and we forget how to hold a lover and calm a toddler, and we never caress a seedling, and we never put our hands in the soil just because, and we don't sing back to our mother's call, and we raise our voices to speak over our sisters, and we don't remember our dreams in the morning, and the oceans boil, and the oceans beat oil, and languages go extinct, and police forces exist, and the voices of victims are trampled treason. But my sister met God in a coma, and she told her that she's inside all of us. And a little kindergartner hugged me like I was the last daddy on earth, and finally learning how to cry is what cured my own father. And queens from New Orleans, Jacksonville, Trinidad, Chicago, Cleveland, Columbia, Austin, Brooklyn, and Minnesota burned down stages in this new creation, and my brothers are rebuilding, architects of a better South, and the kids are watching, and their real recognizes our real, and they are getting hype. And Patricia Smith told us so, and in the rain and in their eyes, the colors are coming back. Thank you. Two more. Thank you so much for having me. Anybody ever deal with insecurities? If you don't say yes, you're lying. If you don't say yes, you're lying. So yeah, I work with working with teenagers a lot at my old high school and just in different cities that I've been to, and I love working with teenagers in poetry because teenagers don't care. Like by the time we were adults, like we've been, it's in our culture that we have to like hide things and, not show our true selves and put on a mask. But teenagers are just raw. Like they just let it all hang out. And it's like you end up, having the gothic kid playing with the football jock and the nerd hanging out with the misfits. And it's just like all these people come together and these kids, 15, 16, 17-year-old come together over these, these insecurities that they deal with every day in high school. And, they inspired this poem for me, just their vulnerability, and this poem's called My Insecurities. And this is dedicated to all my crater faces and misfits who feel like every time you catch yourself in a reflection, even if only for a split second, time seems to stand still like Captain Hook's Museum of Broken Clocks. Your shades are not hater blockers. They're just low self-esteem announcers. Trust me, I know. In the 5th grade, I was the #1 trombone player in my school band. But 1 week before our big spring concert, someone tripped me on the outside basketball courts. I busted my lip open and needed stitches. So I sat there for 2 hours during the concert and pretended like I was playing just for the pictures. And this wouldn't be the last time in my life I'd have to fake it to fit in. See, I grew up having trouble dealing with how my gender role was supposed to be represented. My acne had me sentenced to my room on and off for years, ducking and dodging mirrors, and even sneaking parts of my sister's makeup. Forgetting how good I naturally always was at making people smile, not realizing that pimples are actually a really good filter. The superficial kids straight up ignored me, so I knew my friends loved me for me, and if a girl ever did show any interest, I knew it was genuine. Thank God for my little sister. She never let the self-seclusion go on for too long. She told me the only way to get better was to learn to laugh at myself. Easier said than done, but recently I've been realizing that if I truly believe what I write in my poetry, any insecurities I have must be a contradiction. Red dots on my face have never stopped me from doing anything I want to do. For example, I have 2 guaranteed ways I can make everyone in this room laugh. Number 1 is dance, the Cotton Eye Joe. And number 2 is by spitting true positive poetry, because in individualistic societies such as our own, haterade is marketed extremely well. So even if you don't smoke weed, you get stoned. Advertisements are steroidal killers. Our words are colloidal silver. Poetry is healing like this. Humans need oxygen, which is the trees' trash. The trees need carbon dioxide, which is the humans' trash. The poet needs to get on stage and release their pain by talking about it. And certain members of the audience need to hear about these struggles in order to know they're not alone. It's bravery and solidarity. Ezekiel said, God said, son, speak and never be afraid. So I listen with my heart and erase suffering with the poetry in my mouth. My mama sends 10,000 angels with me every single time I leave the house. Now I'm always feeling like a big little kid who just stepped on a crack and broke the devil's back, immune to gossip and poison. I'm standing with the posture of the pyramids. Fortify your body, be the temple where the spirit lives. At the end of a long day, instead of complaining of exhaustion, be proud of your body, aware that it rejuvenates. Every 7 years, you're made of new atoms from as far as the stars coming together at a perfect pace. You are part of the cosmos and the creator. You should never feel lonely or misplaced. And whether you prefer my diction spiritual or scientific, it don't really matter because they're both saying the same thing. You see, life's about creating a better situation out of what we've been graced with. And sometimes places full of sad faces are the canvases we have to paint with. So take flowers for crayons, stars for glitter, oceans your watercolors, and volcanoes your hot glue guns. Each one of you has the right tools made specifically for you, so don't bother chasing new ones. I used to think the cool kids had all the style, and now years later they're hitting me up because I heard about my potential to take kids sadder than rainbows and help them finally smile. That's when I get done performing at these schools, I hear teachers say, poet, keep writing, and I say, I got you, because it was poetry that helped me finally find my swag, like when Robin Williams jumped up on the Lost Boys dinner table, caught his sword, sliced the coconut Rufio through at him, and that little chubby kid said, bangarang. I'm just out here every day trying to help these insecure teenagers feel the same. Thank you. And just one last poem, if that's all right with you guys. And won't give too much incriminating stuff about Giddy in the poem. Got plenty. Got a lot of that, though. Yeah, this poem is about our tour. Man, we've been blessed. We got to perform in like 30 cities over 8 weeks the summer of 2012. And just people taking care of us. I mean, it's just, now, you know, I'm a flight attendant. I go all over the world. I find myself in really interesting situations, but because of this tour, and just not great situations, like almost locked up abroad and stuff, like crazy stuff. But because of what's happened with Giddy and I on the road, and just people of all shapes and sizes and colors coming to our rescue in really random times, I mean, I don't know, I just feel like things are going to be all right a lot of time. And so yeah, this is called the It's Your World Dream Peace Tour 2012 with Giddy by my side. And she'll be up next. Are we there yet? We drove across country from Tampa to Sacramento in a Ford Ranger, which, you know, the Ford Ranger is like a small truck where the seats don't lean back, so try doing that sometime. I don't recommend it. Are we there yet? A tattooed poet in Columbia, South Carolina left me a voicemail the night after our feature. I listened to it on repeat in the Smoky Mountains. He said, we may not make a million, we may not become famous, but it's very important you keep doing what you're doing because you're providing lyrical medication. What we do is going to mean a lot to a lot of people. We still had 2,500 miles and 12 cities left to go on tour. 1, refreshed. We're like the last rest stop gas station off I-10 in West Texas. Last chance for unknown family to fill up and hydrate before trekking the desert, except we don't overcharge for fuel and water. I want these poems to be a cocoon for your hope. I want my influence to be bubblegum, not jawbreaker. 2, at our show in Charleston, Miss D and her self-proclaimed pleasantly plump partner made us fish and grits. After the show, she said she wished we were staying longer so she could cook more for us. She said, why you think we big girls? We ain't juicy because we juicy. We juicy because we love to cook. I said, I think we can pencil you in. So the next day, we drove out into the woods to find her house, and Giddy gave her sons free haircuts while she made us brownies and snacks for the road. 3, there is a difference between people having a lot and giving, and people not having a lot and still giving just as much. A line from my favorite poet, Alicia Harris, here. I come from the hungry, hungry, dirty South. Nuff said. 4, hip-hop's not dead. We're the groovy ones here. But if you're gonna brag, have something to brag about, like ex-NFL All-Star Warwick Dunn, who has built over 50 homes for low-income families in Atlanta, or Immortal Technique, who used the profits from his last album to build an orphanage in Afghanistan. From Genesis to Genocide, from Quapaw, Arkansas to a little gift store in Ecuador, poets, farm workers, teachers, activists, we are the Earth's immune system, and we keep bravery in the air. 5, you are part of my environment. However you're doing is the exact state of my atmosphere. Loneliness is just the greatest trick society has ever played on humanity. 6, my people, my people, my people, people. Your earthquake laugh that randomly cracks up at everything and nothing deemed funny will save lives. Your face is a stadium that hosts special events like concerts and parades and college football games between schools who have better marching bands than football teams. Your drumline teeth keep the beat for the strangers who pass by you. Smile. 7, after our show in Asheville, we were walking back to the Lone Ranger and we thought I got a parking ticket on my windshield, but when we got closer we realized it was actually a $10 bill someone had stuck under my wipers, and on it, in big black letters, they wrote, "Change the world." 8, sometimes I look at everything I got and everything I need, and I feel like there's still stuff left in between. But then I remember that lucky and blessed are two totally different things. I told y'all, my mom praised me angels and strangers like God sends us lessons and struggles. Both have to be embraced before the blessings can be received. Like shipwrecks make new homes for the fish who lost their coral reefs, and the awkward headgear I had to wear around my head at night during my years with braces so I couldn't sleep on my sides is what finally made me face my fear of the dark. 9, a pastor in Atlanta stopped me after our show. He said he had a word for me. He said, "It's written all over you. That faith that was in you as a child will grow stronger and brighter, and your presence in a room will be a beacon of hope for many who have lost their way." And he prayed for us in the middle of Java Monkey's coffee shop. 10, a prophet from New Orleans, a real cool cat. He told me our poems are prayers. He said, "Don't go messing with these people's minds." He said, "Your talent was no accident. It was designed. Your passion, pain, and stories will change people's lives, and they will love you for it. And they will need you, but you will need them." 11, the poems you write end up writing you. 12, what was supposed to be the worst part of our trip was our stop in Memphis, Tennessee, where everything went wrong and the megabus broke down in the middle of the southern summer for 5 hours and didn't have air conditioning, and we didn't have a show. We just had like a 20-hour layover in between megabuses. So we were grumpy. We had ridden all night, and we decided to split up. I wandered for miles, and I accidentally stumbled across the Civil Rights Museum. From a few blocks away, I saw the Lorraine Hotel in the balcony where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. And I made my way over, and I was fine at first. I just stood there, breathing. And a few ladies in front of me were trying to get a good picture, and I offered to take one for them, and they were very grateful. And I was still fine. And then I handed the camera back, and I turned around, and I saw an excerpt from the mountaintop speech on the wall behind me, and I started bawling under my sunglasses, and I didn't even know why I was crying. I texted my mom about what happened, and she just said, it's good that you're crying. It's a knowing. You guys, a beautiful middle-aged black woman in South Carolina said I reminded her of her son and donated $80 to our gas tank when we were broke. A beautiful white woman in South Dakota said I reminded her of her son and gave me furniture when I moved in and had nothing. Thank you for proving that this is bigger than us. The Loft, we have a village full of Gandhis. If one leader leaves us, we have a generation full of Gandhis ready to step up. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Our last poet for the evening, who is also the curator of tonight's event. Giddy Perez is an international touring spoken word poet, MC, barber, beatboxer, teaching artist, and cultural ambassador, originally from Brooklyn, New York. She is the 2016 recipient of the Loft Spoken Word Immersion Grant, awarded to artists of color who implement community building and development. She was also a member of the Celebrate the Connections program, a creative arts exchange program that selects 6 U.S. artists to travel to India for a teaching, learning, and performance tour across 4 cities. She was a finalist at the Women of the World Individual Poetry Slam in 2014 and placed 2nd out of 36 with her team at the Southern Fried Poetry Slam in 2011 and 2013. In addition to performing, Giddy is an active teaching artist with the Arts Council of Hillsborough County and a program director at Slam Camp at Indiana University and an annual writing summer camp for high school students. We're really excited to host Giddy, so please make some noise for Giddy Perez.
Yes, yes. Thank you. All right, there's a photographer here, so I had to pose. How's everybody feeling? Have y'all enjoyed the poems that you've heard so far? I have too. It's been so, Sean, what's up? I gotta give you some love. Okay, cool. So before I get into my performance, I just wanna I'm gonna be saying thank you so many times to the Loft, hundreds and hundreds of times over. There's sometimes words fall short, even for a poet, but I'm really grateful for this space. Before I get into my set, though, I think it's really important that we use our platform to make space for other people, and there's somebody really special here that I wanna make some space for. So if you guys are down with it, I actually have an alumni student from Slam Camp, which is the camp that I do every summer in Indiana University. I want to tell you a little bit about Grace before I call her up because she's really special to me. So in 2015, it was my first time working at Slam Camp, which is a week-long summer writing camp for high school students to teach them about the art of competition poetry. This was a predominantly white camp. We had 61 students. We probably had 8 students of color. Grace was our only black girl there. And Grace worked at Dairy Queen all summer to save up the money to come to this fucking camp. And so that meant a whole lot to me. There were a lot of very, very wealthy students whose parents give them $500 to go to the movies, right? And she worked really, really hard to come to this camp. She saw something she wanted, she went after it, and she got it. And so not only that, we've been just keeping in contact throughout the years since then, and it's been really incredible. I'm really happy to announce that she just won Button Poetry Live. She just won that slam on Monday. So with no further ado, y'all please clap it up for Grace Aiken, all the way till she makes it to the stage.
Hello. So just a little backstory on this first poem I'm gonna do. Me and my family originate from South Sudan, and we're part of the Dinka tribe, which is the largest tribe in South Sudan. So we speak Tongajing, and this poem is about me speaking Tongajing. To the random man who criticized my Dinka, I want to tell you I knew how to speak this language once. I do not know where it all went. Do you know how frustrating it is to understand each word you are saying, but struggle to reply? I'm scared to open my mouth in fear of getting laughed out of the room. My tongue is something I am ashamed of. It is always grasping for words but comes up with air. Maybe it first happened when my first language turned second, when the words that flowed like water turned honey slow. I want to tell you that maybe it happened when I had to think a little bit before I replied in Dinka, or when a little bit turned into replying into English. I want to tell you that my Dinka is the dead plant I keep watering in hopes of bloom. Thank you. Ode to the dark girl. To be of dark skin is to defend yourself against a new name every day. There's no great metaphor for being black. As a dark-skinned girl, you know this well. My skin has always felt like the scar people couldn't help but ask about. My skin knows outsider, knows how it is to be the black speck in your milk. We dark-skinned girls are the ones no one sees. We have not always been the first pick. We are not the media's ideals of beauty. We are a well-hidden secret. We are no Barbie. We do not masquerade perfection with us. You know what you're getting into with us. There's no fine print. In a way you could say, this is a lashing of a held tongue, of a girl and the growing pains of a woman, breaking the silence she has grown herself in for so long. This, the battle cries for those who were told they were never good enough, where every circumstance that set you up to fail turned into your favor. Step up and step in and step out and speak and speak and speak and scream and scream and scream until every hollow place that lacked your voice is filled, and burn for all those times you dimmed yourself for others. You have kept your words in the shadow for so long you forgot your own voice. For those times where everything around you told you you were worthless, as if trying to convince a diamond it was dirt. At times, you have felt like dirt. You come from humble beginnings, a line of building women, each one constructing the floorboards for you to rise. You do not need anyone's permission except your own to live the life you want for yourself. You are the legacy we are waiting to see blaze, the one who will build skyscrapers with the ashes she has been dealt in life. Thank you.
Y'all please clap it up for Grace one more time. Cool. All right, cool. Hey, y'all, this is it. And then we get to get out of here and have, okay. All right, so I'm gonna do a couple. We had a show one time. We were in Austin, Texas. It was part of our first tour, the poem you heard, and we ended up staying at this co-op. These people saw us at a show and was like, oh, come do our show tomorrow. We're like, hell yeah, we'll do your show tomorrow. We broke poets. We ain't got nothing to do. And it was literally like a clothing optional co-op. And so this dude, didn't know. And this dude goes on stage and he's about to read his poem and somebody in the audience goes, we can't hear you with your clothes on. And he's like, oh, you can't? Oh. He just drops his pants. It was really beautiful. So yeah, needless to say, let's reclaim these bodies, y'all. All right, anyway, so I'm gonna do a few poems for you guys. Throughout my set, a lot of the poems are gonna talk about identity, right? Because this is what this grant was about. I'm a Puerto Rican woman, and I used to feel, thank you. It's like, did y'all hear that or was that my ancestors? Because I'm not sure. But anyway, this grant has allowed me to feel so much more closer to my culture, right? Like growing up as a Puerto Rican woman in New York City, we didn't speak Spanish, right? The New Yorkers don't really speak Spanish fluently. And so that was the disconnect that I had moving from Brooklyn, New York to Tampa, Florida, not having visited Puerto Rico, my island, you know, the place that I come from. There are all these different things that happened that made me feel really disconnected, even though I feel like I'm really strong in my identity, but that was one thing that I just had not written about, right? I had all these poems about all these other things, but no poems about being Puerto Rican. But thanks to this grant, it allowed me to just get really, really close to my culture, and now I'm the wildest Puerto Rican in the room at all times. Not sure how good of an idea that was, but it's been crazy, you know, change for the better and all that. So I'm gonna do some poems. I'll start off with the first poem I wrote in like the name of what Ben was doing. So we first started doing poetry when we were 20 years old, and I think this is why I like push to support the youth so much, because I think like, what if we all think about all the things you do every day, the things that you enjoy. Imagine if someone introduced you to that at 14, right? The things that you love to do, the things that you're passionate about, instead of teaching you fucking PEMDAS and A plus B. I don't even remember the shit no more, right? Like, it don't matter. It just doesn't matter. So I really feel really, really strongly with that and supporting the youth and things like that. So I was 20 years old when I wrote this poem. Is this the first one or was it the lesbian poem? It's right there. Anyway, whatever. So this poem a little bit about where I'm from. I'm from Brooklyn. So I'll do that poem, I'll read a poem, I'll do another poem off the top, you know, memorized, and then I'll read some more, and then we'll kind of go in and out of that during the set. Is that cool? Yes? All right, cool. I really appreciate you all for being here tonight. I was really, really nervous. Okay. You know, you got to get into poet mode, you know what I'm saying? You got to... Just kidding, it doesn't work like that. You just gotta remember your fucking poem and do it. All right, cool. I used to catch tears from clouds and wipe rain from my eyes in my hood. Go Brooklyn, Brooklyn, Brooklyn. I cocoon my block, carefully wrapped $1 worth of candy and Arizona tea leaves into fortunes. Here's a poem I forgot, Origami Fortunes. Folded handball courts into origami fortunes. I fucked the poem up already, Ben. How does it go? You gotta be better, bruh. No, I gotta be better. I gotta be better. It's the oldest fucking poem, and I should have did it in the hotel, but I didn't. So now I'm gonna do this poem about being a barber. Cool? It's all part of my fucking identity, y'all. I got them all. I got all the poems you need. They all about me. You're welcome. Cool. Okay. Some cultures believe that hair is a symbolic offering to the gods, representing a sacrifice of beauty. And in return, the offerers are giving blessings in proportion to their sacrifice. I like to think of myself as a barber. But really, I'm a healer. Every day I interact with the most diverse set of people of all ages, races, and hair textures. Quiet people who don't say a word during their whole haircut, but once you face them towards the mirror, their smile says everything they couldn't. And picky people that actually bring their own set of clippers to the barbershop, which is like going to the hospital and bringing your own needles. And then there are people that love to talk, but with really, really bad breath and boring stories. But I listen anyway because that is my job. And then there are mothers who trust me with their children. And I've learned that kids' haircuts requires a whole lot of patience and a whole lot of lollipops. It's amazing what a haircut can do for someone. All negativity that builds up inside of you grows out through your hair while you rest. So every day I'm stripping away pieces of stress. Call me Giddy Scissor Hands. I can make a star out of your hair and then color it in. Add some tribal designs and zigzags. I could fix a hairline that's really bad. Listen, cheap work isn't good, and good work isn't cheap. So don't come sit in my chair telling me how the other shop up the block only charges 10. Okay, go over there and let them fuck your haircut up then. Because because I treat my haircuts like my poems. I go in. I give teenagers mustaches and confidence just by passing my straight razor gently over some baby hairs underneath their nose. I make old men feel young and vivacious. When they leave my chair, they even start to walk a different way. Or because I made that gray hair darker with a little bit of spray, I'm like a magician. Come watch me do a fade. I can make lines disappear right in front of your face, which explains why I've always been nasty with a pencil, because a good barber knows how to erase. We all can agree. After a long week at work or school, the best feeling is sitting back and being pampered. But for me, there's something about that feeling of reviving, bringing people back to life, making them want to go out and do something. That, to me, means more than what's up and goodbye. It means thank you for making me look fly. I used to get picked on for my haircuts. But thanks to this fade, I could fade in and stand out. And that's what being a good barber is all about. In Islam, they shave their heads as a reminder that they've been washed clean of all prior sins, that barbers are holy men. So I stand for long periods of time because I stand up for what I believe in. I believe in sacrifice and taking care of people, and I take care of them. I lean them back. I lay a towel over their shoulder where that chip used to be. Apply the warm shaving cream on their temples, and they never keep their eyes open, even with a blade in my hand. And that's called trust. So whether you're just learning how to cut or you've been cutting before I was even born, the reason we love what we do is because it takes passion to make someone see themselves for who they really are. And at the end of the day, after all the hair is gone, some get stuck in my fingers. The customers have turned to shadows. The smell of aftershave and talc powder still lingers. I feel a tingling in my knees and a throbbing in my shoulder from standing up all day. And though I often complain, I now understand that it takes a little bit of pain to make a whole lot of change, and there's no better feeling than knowing that I stand up for what I believe in every day. I'm out here making it through poems. I got no stuff. I got poems and stuff. And now I'm going to read a poem, because clearly I'm fucking up already. So I'm just going to read a poem. Can y'all please clap it up for all the poets that came up here before me? Why y'all ain't tell me it was something on my shirt? You know they taking pictures. I'm good, Sarah? It was. I just got it off. You got me? Hook me up, like, make sure. All right, cool. Anyway, so when talking about identity and all these beautiful things, the biggest influence in my life has been my grandmother. My grandmother, I'm sure many of you, everybody like loves their grandma unless she's like evil and kidnaps children. But what? Your grandma did that? Okay, so she's like, how did she know? Anyway, my grandmother was a really, really incredible woman. She was super, super strong. My grandmother was alive during the fucking crack era and the heroin era in Brooklyn, and so of course she was like into all those things. She was also HIV positive, and so for a long time she really struggled with drug addiction, abuse, all kind of crazy shit that women do struggle with on a day-to-day basis. But my mother told me when I was a baby, I was like 1 year old, I was on the bed, and my mother probably does not want me to tell y'all this, actually. I just felt her say, stop telling people our business. But I'm going to tell it anyway, because I think it's important. So my grandmother was watching me. I was on the bed, I was 1 year old, and unfortunately she was high at the time, so I fall off the bed and I hit my head. And so my mother comes in and she's like really upset, and she told my grandmother, this is the last time you'll ever see your granddaughter, like if you don't get clean. And that was the day that she got clean. She like stopped using drugs, she turned her whole fucking life around. She became a counselor, and so she would like counsel people who were addicted, she'd counsel people who were HIV positive. I remember being at her house, and she'd get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we'd be on the next train to her client's house to help them, to talk with them through whatever they had going on. My grandmother was an extremely selfless woman, even though we all have demons that we all had to battle, and I lost her really, really young, but she just had an amazing, a super, super powerful impact on me, and everything I do today, and the way that I am grateful, the way I walk in a room, the way I appreciate and love people. She definitely had a huge, huge impact on that. And so I want to say all that to say that no matter where I go, my grandma is always with me. Always, always, thug tears. All right. All right, okay, so this is not the poem. That's after that one. And that's not right. And here it is. Okay, so cool. This is a poem about my grandmother. This was actually Donnie Rose. I don't know if you guys know who Donnie Rose is. Donnie Rose is a super dope poet out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And we did a workshop one time. We were at Texas Grand Slam. We decided to volunteer. And so we all went to this community home. He gave everyone a writing prompt. And it was 7:30 a.m. And he goes, everybody take out a sheet of paper and a pencil. Now write about the saddest shit that ever happened to you. And I was like, this is the saddest shit that ever happened to me. The fuck is you talking about? Nobody be sad right now. Like, oh my God. But anyway, I ended up fucking writing and I wrote this poem. So this is gonna be a little bit heavy, but then we're gonna get right back out of it. Is that cool with y'all? All right, cool. So the name of this poem is called "And the Casket Said." And the doctor said, but she won't make it through the night. And my mother said, how can I take the life of someone who gave it to me? And the machine said, my battery is dying. I left my charger at home. And the morning said, I lost her in the dark. And my aunt said, it's your mother's fault. And the hospital said, come identify the body. And my mother said, she's too young to see her grandmother like this. And my grandmother's body said, I'm only 49. And the elevator said, I'll take you up before you put her down. And the body bag said, I was just doing my job. And my grandmother's apartment said, I'm immortal. And my aunt said, I want to keep all of the pictures. And my mother said, okay. And my aunt said she wants the pots and the pans. And my mother said, okay. My aunt said, I'm taking this too. And my mother said, okay. And my aunt said, your mother is selfish. I still blame her. And my mother's boyfriend said, if you're not back home by this weekend, I'm leaving you. And my mother said, and the casket said her heart weighed more than her body. And the funeral director said we got to be out by 7. And the flowers said you should probably say goodbye before I die. But my niece said I'm going to sit this one out. And my dream said my grandmother had a twin and that's who was really in the casket. And my grandfather said he deserves to be lonely for the rest of his life because of the way he treated her. And the past agreed. And my aunt's body said, if I can't have that one, I don't want this one. And my uncle's prison jumpsuit stared directly into my grandmother's light and said, this is what the sun must feel like. And my mother said, it's okay to cry with a dry face. And the funeral home said, $10,000. Yeah, that's the poem. That's the end of the poem. Yeah, sorry, I know that. It's cool, right? I'm sorry, y'all. What do I do at the end for that? Just wait a little bit? Okay, sorry. Okay, cool. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Thanks. I'll read another poem. Is that okay? Okay. Okay, so let me tell y'all about this little, I was probably going to have to pay some incidentals at the hotel because I couldn't find this poem anywhere today. I just read it to my homegirl last week, and I was looking everywhere, my email. I couldn't find the poem anywhere. My laptop, my phone. I restarted the laptop, restarted my phone, tried to take a shower. I don't know. I just tried everything I could. Nothing worked. And so I can be honest, right? Okay, cool. So I was so upset, and I was screaming into the pillow. I was like, I don't know what my poem is. And I was like, why are you getting mad? It's just a poem. Giddy, calm down. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But it's my fucking poem. And so I was like going back and forth, like so upset about it. And I was like, you know what? If you just chill, if you smoke one, you relax, you go look at the clouds. So I did that. I rolled one. I went outside. I sat on these stairs. I looked at the clouds. I saw the little hyenas from Lion King in them. Like I see shit, right? Like I saw it. And I had this calm feeling come over me. And I was like, just write the fucking poem again. You know, just try to write what you remember. So I hit it again. I remember it. And this is the poem. I got it. Okay, so y'all ready for it? All right, so this poem, again, is about identity and all this cool shit. So I was watching The Get Down. Y'all know about The Get Down on Netflix? Super cool, super corny, but so great, so great. It's like 8th grade poets, you know? It's like they're so corny, but they're just so cute. But yeah, so this kind of inspired me to write this. That inspired me to write this poem. Also, like gentrification, you know, little things like that. All right, so this one is called We Leave Sometimes. My people be walking barefoot on broken English, needles, 40 ounces, and all that. Bricks breaking through windows sound like home. Smoke, rubble, and ash fall from a building burning in the Bronx. Here, winter comes, but Christmas don't. So I light my tongue on fire to keep the city in my mouth warm. The burnished ember of a burrow, my heart, a glowing red log that stayed after the fire. My skin, a stoop no one left, a sidewalk nobody died on. I left myself on a 6-train platform, for home will always be where the graffiti is, or was. Here, we fill coffins with silence and lower them into the ground. Tuck the tears back into our eyes. Let the Hennessy marinate in the soil where the body last fell asleep forever. Our mouths begin the resurrection. Memories rush up and out, an open fire hydrant in heat wave. We leave sometimes. Crack the chest of a Dutch open like an autopsy. Break our day down into the cigar. Roll our grief inside of the leaf. Our lungs bloat. a balloon escaping a child's palm, we rise to the sky. We're on our way up to meet God or tiny Puerto Rican baby Jesus or whatever's up there. For brown bodies are only forgotten in between because we stay underground and in the sky at the same time. Here, grape juice is our holy water. We glaze the cracker with sazon and adobo, but that ain't the offering, that's dinner. We know about mercy and flavor, pinching pennies for the crumb after the pie is gone, but we still proud. We say wet bar to the nothingness, turn a grain into a gram into Sunday dinners at grandma's. We pray over the beni, in the name of the Father, the Son, flower seeds, and holy sofrito. There's a corner store in the palm of God's hands. God stuck his thumb into a quarter juice and made it rain. The mattress next to the dumpster folds itself into a love letter. The buildings unzip themselves and all the children wind chime onto the monkey bars. A crackhead falls under himself like a slinky down a staircase in the projects, and they called it a praise dance. Isn't it not funny how all this too will be for sale? Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. All right, last poem. This poem is going to be about the way my mother chose to discipline me growing up. And she chose a lot of different crazy shit, but this was the one thing that is traditional, right? When I think about being Puerto Rican and what that means and everything that comes with that, I think it's the discipline, right? Like, there's so many ways that my mother had me disciplined growing up, right? There's a certain way the house got to look if there's company that's coming over, right? And don't let nobody come over without telling her, right? Because then that's going to be a problem. So just all these different ways to, I think my mother had me very young. She was 17 years old when she had me. So essentially we grew up together, right? So my mother I was the trial and error for like my younger brothers and sisters. So she tried all these different ways to discipline me, from the belt, kneeling on rice, all kind of crazy shit. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get her in trouble. But it's never anything I felt like I had to forgive my mother for, right? It was nothing that I felt like was so much trauma in my life that I couldn't love her the same, or that she took something from me I couldn't get back. I think it was really, really necessary and really, really important, the ways that she chose to discipline me. But saying that, like, also abuse is not cool. Oh, wait, y'all are not, sorry, I'm so used to performing for teenagers. So I'm like, hey, like, if you're being abused, like, talk to somebody. That shit's not cool. But I don't gotta say that with y'all. Y'all know what's up. Like, y'all, whatever. Cool. All right, so this poem is about a chancla. All right, cool. And I'm gonna close out with this poem. Is that cool? All right, here we go. I am 5 years old, curious to see my reflection for the first time. I start to climb on top of our bathroom sink when my foot slips and my head bounces off the tile like a rubber band ball. There's a loud ringing in my head when my mother bursts into the bathroom, her eyes, a bouquet of tears. She drops to her knees, wipes the tears ever so gently from my cheek, and kisses me lightly on the forehead, grabs the sandal off her foot, and proceeds to whoop my ass with it. So this poem is dedicated to you, the chancla. I was raised by the power of a chancleta, also known as a chancla, not to be confused with a sandal or flip-flop, because you wasn't made for no walk on the beach. You are disciplined at my feet. Chancla, you raised me, corrected me when I messed up my times tables and ABCs. You were all the motivation I need to do the dishes and clean my room. You taught me that when my mother says my name, I don't say what, I just go find her before you find me. Chancla, you were our translator when we didn't have the language. You gave my mother a way to make me feel what she was trying to say without really saying it. You were my hearing aid. I mean, I thought I didn't hear my mother tell me to clean my room, but when she reached for you, suddenly I can hear everything she was asking me to do so clearly. Sometimes my mother would release you like a curveball, and you split the air down the hallway like a sword, bend through a cracked door, and remind me that because of you, no matter how far away I am, my mother can always reach me. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a chancla. Flying through the air like a superhero, and my forehead, some thief that just stole an old lady's purse in the alley. I remember one time I won a fight, and my mom beat me for fighting. I remember one time I lost a fight, and she beat me for losing. Chancla, you've been there for me first. Probably used to cut my umbilical cord at birth. You've been alive longer than trees and sharks. Probably helped Noah round up the animals to build his ark. And if you look closely, you'll see right under his knees, even Moses was wearing a pair of chanclas when he parted the Red Sea. In 1972, my great-grandmother Blanca scared off the chupacabra with her chancla, and it never came back. except to ask her if she needed anything from the store. In 1996, when my Titi Sunshine asks me if I'm scared of the dark and I say yes, she raises her chancla to her shoulder like a shot put, and the boogeyman says sorry. Then agrees to cook me pancakes and bacon for a week. See, growing up poor caused my mom to stress over food, rent, and basic necessities. And what better way to raise me? With a chancla, I learned how to do things right the first time. With a chancla, I knew not to speak when adults were speaking, to say excuse me, to duck, to run, to stand still when I deserved it. He told me to do right by allowing my mother to use her soul. And I can't blame you or be mad. You made me tough. You were the father I never had. You conditioned me to be strong. Sure, you helped me write this poem. See, some parents spend thousands of dollars on pills to get their kids to sit still. But because of you, all my family ever needed was 99 cents in traditional skills. So shout out to you, Chancla. You are the greatest lesson, whether you're worn, broken, or thrown, teaching me what to hold on to and what to let go. My name is Giddy Perez. Thank y'all for having me. Clap it up for DJ Knock, just killing it all night long. Clap it up for Ben B the Truth. Clap it up for Benard Ferguson. Clap it up for Fatima Camera. And clap it up for my homegirl Grace in the back. Thank y'all for having me. Bow, please come. And keep clapping it up for Bow.